Hello students, welcome to JS Tutorials. We are glad to introduce these sessions for you. Under these sessions, we will be covering environmental engineering. Upon the request of civil BTech students, we have prepared these sessions, and these sessions can be very useful for your exams, and they are within the syllabus only. As per your syllabus, these are designed, and these are very much useful for your even competitive exams like AE and AW also. So under environmental engineering, actually we have to study three aspects: air, water and soil, but as per your syllabus it is for only water related activities only. So this particular environmental engineering is broadly classified under two headings. One is water supply engineering, another one is sanitary engineering. So water supply engineering and sanitary engineering will go hand in hand, that is in a cyclic process. So water will be captured from various sources like river, water, pond, pools, lakes, etc. That is wells, even infiltration galleries. From there the water is sent to the treatment plant. From the treatment plant the water has to be distributed to the public. After distribution, the reused water, it has to be collected from various service units, and again it has to get back to the treatment plant, and then it has to be disposed. So it is a cyclic process. Okay, so we will be studying in detail about each and every topic related in this. First of all, what are the contents present in water supply engineering? So in the water supply engineering, we will be studying about need and importance of water treatment and supply. So each and every topic will be covered in a separate sessions. Don't worry, ma'am is telling here only, just this is an introduction slide. Next, first one, what need and importance of water treatment and supply. Actually, why we have to treat water? If we are not treating water, what will happen? So what is the urge of this water treatment? Okay, so if you are not treating water, you are costing the public health, that is the public health will be in risk. So everything we will be studying, and we will be studying in need and importance of water treatment and supply. Next one is design period. What is design period? Design period is nothing but the future period of any service units of water supply engineering or sanitary engineering designs. For example, if you are designing a reservoir for a particular city for a period of 30 years, so the service period of that particular reservoir is 30 years. The design period, the whatever the service period, or that is the service which has been carried out, or the service which has been giving you that given by that particular hydraulic structure, you are designing that particular like that. So that period is called as your design period. That means the whatever the design period, that means that whatever the service period you are designing for that particular hydraulic structure to give you, so that period is called as your design period. This also we will be studying. Next one is population forecasting methods. Before designing anything, before designing any structure, first of all, mainly hydraulic structures, mainly we have to forecast the population, because we have to predict the design period. For example, we are predicting 30 years. So the population of that particular city, first of all you have to take the present population, and also the successive that is the successive increase or decrease of the population of that particular city in next 30 years or next 10 years or next 20 years. So you have to first of all estimate the population, then you have to give the design, because that particular design should serve the population during this particular 30 years. So population forecasting is very important in the design aspect. So there are 8 to 9 methods are there. I'll be teaching each method clearly in the next coming sessions. Okay, so that is the importance of your population forecasting. Next one is water demand. So how to supply, when to supply, and how much to supply water to the public. So this is very important topic. For example, if you want to supply water for a city like Hyderabad, Okay, so you cannot supply as you wish. Okay, so first of all you have to say, you have to divide that particular city into different zones: industrial zone, domestic zone, trade and commerce zone, or public zone. Like that you have to differentiate, and you have to allocate the water as per Indian standards. For the rural people, how much of water you have to give per day, per head, per so many liters per head per day. Okay, so like that you have to calculate, and you have to distribute water for the domestic sector, for the industry sector, for the trade and commerce sector, for the public sector. So like that we will be studying all these under water demand. Next one is what factors affecting water demand. So what are the factors responsible for the increase and the decrease of water demand? Everything we will be studying under the same chapter. Next one is variation in water demand. So how to calculate the variations in the water demand? For example, we are not why variations occurs is, for example, in a day we are not consuming water in a uniform pattern. For example, we are from morning 4 to 11 o'clock we will be using most of the water, that is most of the water will be consumed for various activities. After that, after 11, drastically the water usage will be reduced till 4 like that. After 4 again the water utility will be increased, and at night after 10:30 again the water consumption will be decreased as per domestic purpose I'm talking about. So there is a parabolic increase and decrease. Okay, so there is a curve shaped variation. So per day we are not uniformly utilizing the water. Per day we are not per day there will not be a uniform water demand. So like that we can calculate water demand per day, per month, and per year also. So by using these variations in water demand, we can calculate the per capita demand of water per year, per day, or per month also. So that we will be studying under variations in water demand. Next one is water quality. How to check water before supplying water to the public consumption. How to check the water in the laboratory, and then after checking the water, then we have to send the water for the public consumption there by using 3 parameters. One is physical parameter, another one is chemical parameters, and last one is biological. If it satisfies all the 3, then we can send the water to the public consumption. This is also one of the great large session will be there. I'll be teaching you now. Next one is water treatment methods. This is very important. Before that, there is another topic called as resources of water, from where we have to collect and how to collect water, that I'll teach you. Next one is water treatment method. Under water treatment method, first one is sedimentation. So in the sedimentation there are 2 types of sedimentations, the mechanisms involved in it, types of sedimentation tanks, design of sedimentation tank, everything I'll teach you under sedimentation. Next one is filtration. In the filtration, what is filtration, mechanism involved in it, types of filter beds, how to form a filter bed, how to design a filter bed, everything I'll talk about. Next one is disinfection. There are types of disinfections. There are how many types and what are they, everything we will be talking under disinfection types. Next one is distribution, which is a complex one, and we will be talking about how to distribute water from the treatment plant to the consumer level. Okay. Next one is, it's a small topic, that is why I am covering in this particular introduction part. First topic is need and importance of water treatment. First of all, water should be free from all impurities. That means we should make, why we have to treat water is, we have to treat water so that it removes all the impurities. It may be a it's dissolved, it may be a suspended, whatever it may be, it has to remove all the impurities and make water free from all impurities. Okay, so through treatment, that is the main and primitive purpose. So if you are not treating water properly, then it may cost the public health. So public health may be in threat. So first of all, the water should be treated properly and all the impurities should be removed. That is the first and foremost aspect you have to remember. Next one is water should be safe and wholesome. So we should make sure that the water should be safe in all the parameters. Physically it should safe, chemically it should safe, and biologically it should safe. Okay, so for example, if the water is black in color or brown in color or yellow, can you able to drink? No, isn't it? The physical appearance itself, it is not possible for us to take the water, isn't it? So water should be tasteless, colorless, odorless. Even contamination of chemicals also, if it is, we cannot take the water. So it should be free from all the parameters. Like physically it should be good, it should be chemically free from, and it should be biologically, that is microorganisms, everything should be, it should be free from all the things. Next is wholesome. Wholesome means here we are treating water. Okay, government people or that is public health department, that using so much of fund to treat the water, and they are supplying water to the public. So they are spending something on the water for treatment. Okay, so these waters are to be carefully used. It should not be go waste, or it should not be used carelessly. So some amount, minimal charges should be laid on the public, so that it should be bearable. Even for the it should the minimum, even the poor people should able to afford to pay those amount. That much minimal amount should be laid, so that they can happily use the water and they can consume without any loss. For the poor people, it may be free, like rural people, the common accessible point from where they can tap. For the above, that is middle class and the upper middle class, it should be payable as per the requirement. Next one is water should be in adequate quantity. So okay, we are making water free from all the impurities, we are making it safe in all the parameters. Next, it is wholesome, that is burdenless, minimal amount of only. But if you are not giving adequate amount of water to the public for the use, then it is no use. Okay, so per head, as per Indian standards, per head per day, the individual has been given 35 liters. Okay, that should be given for the urban. For the rural, like that, whatever the assigned amount of liters are there, the amount of water is there, so it should be sent to that. That is adequate amount. If you are giving surplus, they will waste the water. If you are giving deficient, again there will be a crisis for the water, and water fighting, all these things will occur. So we should treat the water, we should make the water free from all impurities and safe, and it should be wholesome, that is burdenless. Next, it should be adequate, it should be sufficient for them to utilize for all their activities. It should be sufficient, that is what here. Next is, it should be accessible to nearest point. Yes, everything is good, but if it is not reaching to the point of consumption, then it goes again, the everything, whatever the work we are doing from the primitive, it goes waste. Okay, it should be accessible to the point, it should be available to the consumer level. At the urban places, they should be available to the doorsteps. At the rural level, it should not be far from the village, it should be within the village at the four corners, which is easily accessible for them to capture. So easily accessible point should be provided, for that the public can utilize maximum amount of water. Whatever you are giving, it should be applied. I hope you have understood this video. If you understood, please like the video, share and subscribe and encourage us. Thank you all.